Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Before we start, a couple things. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. I say that at the end of every video, but I should probably say that at the beginning. And also The Hook have launched our own creatine brand. It's it here, you can find it in the link in the description below. Make sure you guys go show it some love. It's affordable, it's cheap, and we're just trying to sort of help the community as well. So let's get to what I want to talk about today, and that is a new boxing events company called IV Boxing, whose CEO is a chap by the name of Ed Pereira. Now, Ed Pereira, from the research that I've done in the past couple of hours, I didn't know about him before 2-3 hours ago, but he's made his money and his sort of status in the world of advertising. I've watched a couple of videos and he's worked with the likes of the Welsh Rugby Union. He went to university in Swansea and he's Welsh by the sounds of it. So he's made his money working with the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, and the Welsh Rugby Union as well. So he seems to have played a big part in the world of sport and in the world of advertising as well. He was also a key cog in the Times Square event that happened in March, April last year, 2025, which saw the whole of Times Square being shut down for a ring season event. Now that was logistically that was pretty impressive considering that they stopped the flow of traffic in Times Square, which is of course quite busy. And they put on the event. The event really didn't live up to expectation. None of the fighters there really sort of set the world on fire, but it was a quite impressive feat, and I'm sure that with a lot more refinement and more events of that magnitude, they can make it into something great. And that brings me on to this point now, because IVB Boxing is a sort of new entity that is looking to take over the sport, and it describes itself as a large-scale event organizer rather than a promoter. And as I've mentioned before, they've organized a lot of events in different sports, including boxing as well. And one of the sort of key takeaways I took from it is that Ed Pereira believes, IVB Boxing believe, I should say, that boxing has been taken away from the public. He references a lot about Eubank v Ben, about the fact that, if you speak to the older generation, a lot of them knew who Eubank and Ben were. A lot of them knew a lot more about. A lot of them could tell you, for example, who the heavyweight champion of the world was back then. Currently, despite Alexander Usyk's greatness and status as one of the best boxers of this generation, he's not. He has crossed over to an extent, but I'd probably say a lot more people know who Anthony Joshua is as opposed to Alexander Usyk, even though Alexander Usyk has become a unified champion of the world. So I guess his point is that he wants to bring boxing back to the mainstream. He doesn't sort of openly mock other things, but he does say that boxing has potentially lost a lot of casual fans because of the cost of pay-per-views and the cost of tickets to get into the venues. The Zone have, of course, just recently released their pay-per-view subscription. So, yeah, and a big sort of point that IBB Boxing want to bring home is the fact that a lot of their events will be shown live on YouTube due to a distribution deal that they've signed with them. They want to make events, so they're planning on doing 12 events this year. Some events will be free, some will be pay-per-view, but will not be double paywalls. There's no description, so they want to keep the pay-per-view to a minimum of $10 to $15. That's been in the headline recently, given how much the fight Samuel Matias against Dalton Smith cost. That was $41.95 to watch that. Just for context, Tyson Fury, I think when he fought Francis Ngannou or Alexander Usyk, that pay-per-view price was priced at £30. So it cost more to watch Samuel Matias than it did to watch Tyson Fury. So I guess there is a problem there. And I guess maybe that's the sort of, if you put boxing on an app, it sort of excludes it from people who have a sports subscription. So Sky Sports, people might watch, I don't know, Saturday Night Football, and then they may sort of tune in to watch sort of boxing that might happen soon after, given it's on the Zone and the Zone doesn't really have any Premier League rights or anything like that. Sort of, it requires fans to sort of switch over to that, and if a lot of them don't know that the boxing is happening, then you sort of lose those casual fans. So I do understand what he's saying. As mentioned, he's worked with Turkey. He was also involved in Usyk Fury, the Times Square event, Daniel Dubois against Anthony Joshua, etc. So, look, I mean, it's still in its early stages. I guess the big thing about boxing is that there's a lot of sort of people that come in with these grand ideas, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why, Frank Warren's been in the game for 40, 50 years, is because he sort of, you can't really buy that experience, but it seems that, this Ed Pereira has been in the world of advertising for 28 years. He's worked with Turkey. So I guess, maybe he could come in and sort of bring it onto the masses. In terms of who they want to be that sort of marquee fight, they are looking at Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder. Now, I think that fight is set to take place on San Francisco on July 11th, and they want to sort of supersede the record crowd of more than 136,000, which is the most, it's the most recorded event size that has been seen. So they want to eclipse that. I think he said in an interview that they want 200,000 people at that event. Their aim is to shut down San Francisco, and sort of just fill it up with as many people. And the way they're going to do that is they're going to make it free for the public to attend, which will be quite interesting. It'll be interesting to see actually how big their distribution deal is with YouTube, because if people come in free to attend, then I guess the gate receipts aren't going to be their main way of making money. I guess it's going to be through advertising, broadcasting. I guess their sort of cost to advertisers on these events will be higher, right? Because you've ultimately got more people watching, especially if it's free to air on YouTube as well. So you'll have, north of hundreds of millions of people watching it, I guess, cumulatively. So I guess they can command big sort of sponsorship fees, and I guess that's the way of monetizing the event and making it financially viable. They have chosen Usyk. I mean, obviously he signed a fight deal with Riyadh Season. He'll have a figure that he's used to paying, so these IVB boxing guys must have a lot of disposable capital in their arsenal to attract a figure like Alexander Usyk, because, as mentioned, he's someone who won't come cheap, and Deontay Wilder won't come cheap either. In terms of a matchup for the two, I mean, that is quite intriguing. It's maybe a fight that not a lot of people are calling for at the moment. Maybe if they were to put an Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury together, that might just be a little bit out of their price range. But, I mean, again, I think people will still tune in to watch Wilder and Usyk. It's just maybe not a fight people are calling for, just because of how Wilder seems to be one of those stars who maybe has crossed over, given his fights with Tyson Fury. So I guess a lot more casual fans maybe know who Wilder is, and yeah, it's an interesting proposition. Just interesting to see how it all works out, because it seems to be very ambitious. And I guess in this article, so I'm quoting from an ESPN article, it seems like they want to work with every promoter. So maybe it changes the way that boxing. Again, these are just raw thoughts, but maybe it changes the way boxing is perceived and sort of worked in, because, are these promoters like Matchroom and Queensrÿ, are they soon going to be sort of, is their role to work with the sort of bigger entities like IVB, Riyadh Season? Are they the ones supplying the fighters, and then people like IVB Boxing, are they the ones putting on the event? So you know, it'll be interesting to see how their relationship lasts with these promoters. But I think there's a press conference that is due to be happening today or later today. It might be. So again, I guess we just have to see about that. And then the final thing I want to talk about is Canelo Alvarez returning to the ring. Turkey Al Sheikh and the Ring Magazine have announced that Canelo will return on September 12th. That fight will be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Canelo is halfway through a 4-fight deal with Riyadh season, and interestingly, that fight will be the first of Canelo's new promotional company, Canelo Promotions. He seems to have taken the route that many other elite athletes have taken. You know, the likes of Floyd Mayweather, Amir Khan, whereby these guys establish their own promotional entity, and they take control of things like the gates. They might get a percentage of the gates. They control all the sponsorships, advertisements, putting on the events themselves. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how he works with Turkey, and it'll be interesting to see how many fighters he signs up. Maybe that's a relationship that can long continue with Zuffa Boxing and Dana White. So, again, just another athlete who's choosing to take control of their own sort of future as opposed to putting it in the hands of a promoter. That being said, Canelo he's always been very business savvy, and he's always been a fighter. Unlike people like Anthony Joshua, who stuck by Eddie Hearn for the majority of his career, Canelo has decided to move about. He signed deals with Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya. He's also signed with Matchroom Boxing. I think Matchroom promoted him for fights against Billy Joe Saunders. So yeah, Canelo's moved where the money has come, and he's not been afraid to sort of move on and hop on. And I guess, you know, the way he's looking at, I guess this indicates that he's looking at a career in boxing post-retirement. Maybe this is a promotional company that will be set up to manage fighters long after he retires. I guess it's a legacy statement in the sport of boxing. In terms of opponents, I mean, Hamza Shiraz is yet to headline a fight in Saudi Arabia. That would be a very interesting fight. But Shiraz is either fighting Pacheco or Mbili. I think he's gearing towards a fight with Pacheco. I guess that fight needs to happen soon in order to give Hamza the required time to sort of, you know, step back from the sport a little bit and then prepare for a big fight in September. So a very interesting start to the year, and this could shape the way boxing goes in 2026, but I guess you've got to stay tuned. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Thank you.